Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story is complicated because it involves another situation with the police where a child ends up dying pretty much at the hands of the police. It's going to be a little bit crazy. And just recently we did a story where there was a football game where a shooting broke out at the football game between some rival thugs, I guess. And the police were called because they called 911 and asked the police to come out there. Oh, we need y'all to help us, police. We need y'all to help us. Please save us. And what did the police do? They came in there and they tried to fix the situation by shooting at the bad people who were shooting the guns, right? It just so happens that these bullets don't have names on them. If they miss their target, they might hit something unintentionally. So in that situation, the police caused a young girl to die. Horrible thing, horrible thing. Her name was, let me see. I forget the little baby's name, but I know she had a very unique name. Fanta, that was the little girl's name. In this situation, I'm going to tell you guys more about the story, and I want to warn you guys, I'm going to say some things that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. So I don't know where you guys stand when it comes to how you feel about the police, how you feel about criminals, how you feel about children. But at the AFC, we advocate for what? We advocate for children first. And I want y'all to look at this beautiful baby boy on my screen here. A very, very handsome young man right here. I've got a few pictures of him. And what happened to him was senseless and it was preventable. And I kind of say not necessarily at the behest of the police, because the police are simply trying to apprehend a criminal and stop him from doing something that could potentially hurt a lot more people. Everybody catch that? This could have hurt a lot more people. So let me tell you guys what happened. There was a man who refused to stop for the Georgia State Patrol troopers, and he crashed, killing a 12-year-old boy, and he has been charged with murder, and that's according to investigators on Monday. At 1:09 a.m. Friday, a state trooper attempted to pull over a Kia Sorento, speeding on Bethel Church Road in Paulding County. The driver pulled over but refused to lower his window. The state patrol said in an email statement, excuse me, I had a little trouble trying to read that. The trooper then requested help from the Paulding Sheriff's Office, and a deputy quickly arrived. The male driver, who is, I think I just scrolled across his picture. This individual that you see on my screen with that blank stare on his face. This man looks like printing paper. That's what he looks like. He's just blank-faced clown. That's what he is. This male driver, who was determined to be under the influence of alcohol, where are all my people who we're like my MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Do we have any MAD members in here? MADD? Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, Fathers Against Drunk Drivers. Drunk drivers are the worst kind of stupid ass people. Excuse my language. He was determined to be under the influence of alcohol and failed to comply with the deputy and trooper's request to roll down his window and provide his license and other pertinent information, according to Sergeant Ashley Henson with the Paulding Sheriff's Office. At the conclusion of the incident, it was also discovered that the male driver had a suspended license because this stupid SOB was not supposed to be operating a vehicle. Now, I'm going to warn you guys something. I don't want to piss the parents off, but I wonder if the biological parents of this boy knew that this man didn't have a valid driver's license. I'm sorry. I just believe that people who drive vehicles without a valid driver's license, look, if that's the law of the land, just follow the damn land, right? Follow the law. I know you have these so-called alleged sovereign citizens that don't believe that you're supposed to follow the law. In all actuality, I don't really see any good reason why we shouldn't. They help protect us, and they also help us to kind of They really help us in a lot of different ways. Just follow the damn law. Like, why would you not have a license? It was found out that he did not have a valid driver's license. It was then that the Paulding deputy broke the driver's side window out of the vehicle. That's when the driver, who was later identified as 35-year-old Charles Moore, his name is spelled traditionally, 35-year-old Charles Moore fled the scene and drove over the trooper's foot. I bet that probably messed him up pretty bad. So he dipped. He dipped on the police, tried to run. And a high-speed pursuit followed onto the GA-92, where Moore was driving recklessly. The GSP said. The trooper ended the chase near Kilgore Path by using a procedure, a pursuit immobilization technique called the pit maneuver, causing the Kia to exit the road and overturn in a ditch, according to investigators. How many of you guys are familiar with the pit maneuver? Most people should. We're all grown here. We've watched a lot of news. All they do is there is a way that they hit the side rear of the vehicle, which causes it to fishtail. And if it starts to fishtail at most rates of speed, it should cause it to swerve and swerve out, where it will disable the vehicle. But with doing things like this, and especially when somebody's driving at a high rate of speed, bad things can happen. So let me tell you guys what else happened. Deputies and the trooper rendered aid to all three occupants of the SUV. So there were 3 people in the vehicle. So what ended up happening, I don't know if they're going to say it in here, but the vehicle ended up flipping. It flipped on its top side. That's a very dangerous thing. But the backseat passenger, this young boy, 12-year-old Leiden Boykins, and his first name is Leden. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce his name correctly, but I think that's Leiden Boykins, 12 years old. He was killed in the crash, according to the State Patrol. He was not wearing a seatbelt. That is a very, very important fact. That baby boy was not wearing a seatbelt. But that doesn't guarantee that he wouldn't have lost his life, though. But that's just the facts of this case. Moore and the front seat passenger, 14-year-old Blake Zaire, were both taken to the hospital with minor injuries. In addition to murder, Moore has been charged with 31 other offenses. Y'all catch that? 31 other offenses, including vehicular homicide, aggravated assault against a peace officer, which is the running over the foot, DUI, which y'all know that's a very damn serious thing, endangering a child while driving under the influence, open container in a motor vehicle, obstruction of law enforcement officer, driving while license suspended, and reckless driving. Other charges include speeding, improper turn, failure to obey a traffic control device, failure to obey a stop sign, and distracted driving. Somebody in the chat said he deserves every charge. How many of y'all agree with that? Because I do. If you're just getting here, we just started telling this story. Please click that thumbs up if you guys are listening to the sound of my voice right now. I believe that's accurate. I believe he deserves every charge that they could throw at this fool. Because a lot of people are going to try to blame this on the police. They've already started. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to let y'all listen to the family. I think the family is even trying to hold the police accountable, which they shouldn't be. This is not the police's fault that this baby boy lost his life. Now, he's being held late Monday at the Paulding County Jail. In addition to the charges, Moore is facing unrelated charges filed by Henry County and the Covington Police Department. Let me give you guys the fair usage, and let me know what you guys think. Did the police fail here? Did the police do something wrong? Should the police be fired? Should the police be defunded? What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section. Let's go ahead and get it in. Fair use. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right. As a quick reminder, if you guys would do me a favor and please click that thumbs up. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, it'll help share this story and all of our stories, and it'll let more people know that we're here talking about this. So it'll bring more of our subscribers here. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up. We want to have as many thumbs up as people are watching. Okay, let's get it in.
911 recordings are giving us a better idea of what was happening during a crash involving state troopers, a crash that killed a 12-year-old boy. His parents spoke with our John Schierick after listening to the 911 calls.
As Georgia state troopers were chasing a driver on Highway 92 that they just tried to pull over for speeding Friday morning.
I am afraid. I'm afraid for my life.
The driver was on the phone with Paulding County 911, trying to call the cops on the troopers.
They need to get them off of me right now because I'm scared. I got my kids with me right now.
Inside his car, 12-year-old Leedon Boykins, the son of a family friend, and the driver's own 14-year-old son.
We heard the 911 call.
Leedon's parents, Anthony and Tony Boykins, say the driver should not have sped away from troopers.
He does bear some responsibility. He was pulled over and he had kids in the car.
But they don't understand.
I got my kids with me, man. My God. They trying to flip my car, man.
Why the trooper chose to end the chase with a pit maneuver that caused the crash that killed Leedon.
Read it. No.
Why was he considered so dangerous that they had to flip that car with them kids in there? Why did he make that decision? Why did he decide to flip that car knowing there was kids in there?
Let's pause right there. Let's take a pause for the cause right there. I'm going to let y'all hear this again, what the parents said. I get what they're saying. I promise you, I totally understand. That's why this is a little bit controversial. Let me know what you guys think. And I know most of you guys might be here to hear the news, but the majority of people are here to hear what my opinion is about the news. How many of you guys agree that they're saying, why would the police use the pit maneuver and that was unnecessary? Let y'all hear it again.
Them kids in there. Why did he make that decision? Why did he decide to flip that car knowing there was kids in there?
Here's what I want you guys to think about when it comes to this pit maneuver. I want you guys to think about what dangers are presented when a drunk driver is driving around in essentially a weaponized vehicle. Out of control, not in his right mind, not in his clear state of mind. What could happen when somebody drives drunk and you don't physically stop them? What happens? Anybody have an idea? Oh, that's right. They could kill many others. Right? How many of you guys have watched people that are drunk drive their cars into crowds of people that they didn't see? How many times have you guys heard about drunk drivers running into oncoming traffic? Head on traffic. Running off the road, running into buildings, running into gas stations. Yes? How imperative is it when you find out somebody is drunk to stop them? I say pit maneuver. Let's get it cracking. Anybody else in the car is just collateral damage, to be honest with you. Because the dummy who was driving the car took those children's lives and put it in his back pocket as a priority. Huh? Just because you didn't want to go to jail, because you were scared. Well, what about the kids? You got kids in the car. What about the fact that your punk ass wasn't supposed to be driving in the first drunken place? Huh? How about that? This is in no shape, form, or fashion the police's fault. The police should have zero liability for the lives that were lost. We lost one life instead of many lives. Now, did this boy's life matter? Hell yes, it did. But it should have mattered to the fool who had taken possession of these kids to be the responsible adult in his life at that moment. It's his fault to the fullest extent. And it's so funny how I tell all of these different damn stories. Yes, y'all, I can see y'all agree in the chat. So somebody hears what I'm saying. Okay, good. I don't know if we have any mothers against drunk drivers or fathers against drunk drivers in the chat. And thank y'all for joining the channel membership. So clearly somebody understands my point and my message with this. What I'm telling you is something the news cannot do. There is no blog that can tell you what I'm telling you. This has to stop. Constantly screaming and crying wolf. Where does that get you? We keep creating this battle between people and the police. People and the police. If the police are so damn bad, why do y'all punk asses, not y'all, I know it ain't y'all, it's not all, talking in general, okay? People might not get it. But why do people continue to call the police and then complain about the services that you're getting? And I'm going to tell you guys this. If I go to damn Popeye's Chicken and Popeye's continue to serve me some cold, old, boring, nasty-ass chicken, guess what? I'm not going to be going to Popeye's anymore. How about Uber Eats? If Uber Eats delivers my stuff late, if they got it crunched up, if they bring me the wrong order, if they didn't bring everything that I asked them to bring me, how many times do you think I'm going to continue to keep using Uber Eats? Maybe I ought to get my punk ass up and go get it myself. Police yourselves. Why call the police at all? Every single time they call the police, well, the police should have did this. And there should be a level of accountability on the police's part. Don't get it twisted. But y'all are suing the police. Y'all are getting them fired. You're getting them jail time. The police are being held accountable. But when are we going to start to hold each other accountable for the stupid crap that we're doing to ourselves? This black man is the reason that this black boy is dead. Whose responsibility is it to have told this boy to put his seatbelt on to begin with? It's the adult's responsibility. Because guess what? When the police pull you over and they notice that your passengers don't have seatbelts on, guess who gets the ticket? It's the driver. That boy should have had a seatbelt on, and maybe it could have saved his life. But then again, we shouldn't even have got to this point because the boy shouldn't have been in the vehicle with somebody who didn't have a license, with somebody who drinks, and he shouldn't have been running from the police.
State Patrol chase policy requires troopers to evaluate all variables, including whether there are children in the car they are chasing, before performing a pit maneuver. The State Patrol is investigating the troopers' decisions. The driver is now facing charges that include murder and DUI. Leedon's parents want the troopers involved held accountable too.
Any car chase, the car chase goes for so long, the police back off when there's people in danger.
Again, the driver now facing charges of DUI and murder. And now all the updates for the rest of this story can be found on 11alive.com.
Murder charges against the driver who led state troopers on a high-speed chase down Highway 92 in Paulding County. Now, this chase ended tragically in a crash, killing a 12-year-old boy inside the car. The troopers are also under investigation, which is routine. This is standard. But the parents say they want everyone responsible to be held accountable. And the parents spoke with our John Sherrick tonight, and he joins us live from Highway 92. John?
12-year-old Leedon Boykins killed here on Highway 92, not far from here, on Friday morning in that high-speed chase. Today, Leedon's parents listened to the 911 call made from inside that car Leedon was in that troopers were chasing.
As Georgia State Troopers were chasing a driver on Highway 92 that they just tried to pull over for speeding Friday morning.
No, I am afraid. I'm afraid for my life.
The driver was on the phone with Paulding County 911, trying to call the cops on the troopers.
They need to get them off of me right now because I'm scared. I got my kids with me right now.
Inside his car, 12-year-old Leedon Boykins, the son of a family friend, and the driver's own 14-year-old son.
We heard the 911 call.
Leedon's parents, Anthony and Tony Boykins, say the driver should not have sped away from troopers.
He does bear some responsibility. He was pulled over and he had kids in the car.
But they don't understand.
I got my kids with me, man. My God. They trying to flip my car, man.
Why the trooper chose to end the chase with a pit maneuver that caused the crash that killed Leedon.
Read it! No!
Why was he considered so dangerous that they had to flip that car with them kids in there? Why did he make that decision? Why did he decide to flip that car knowing there was kids in there?
State Patrol chase policy requires troopers to evaluate all variables, including whether there are children in the car they are chasing, before performing a pit maneuver. The State Patrol is investigating the troopers' decisions. The driver is now facing charges that include murder and DUI. Leedon's parents want the troopers involved held accountable too.
Any car chase, the car chase goes for so long, the police back off when there's people in danger.
Leedon's parents finally found out that the GBI has Leedon's body, and they've been promised it will be released to them this week so they can plan Leedon's funeral. And they say they still don't know who identified Leedon on Friday, hours before they say they were officially notified he'd been killed. Ron.
Yeah, you can see why the parents are really upset, looking for answers after a police chase turns tragic. John Sherrick, thanks a lot for that update.
Grief and anger, tears and searing questions about the death of 12-year-old Leedon Boykins Friday morning.
He said, Granny, I'm on my way. I'm almost home. At least can come.
Leedon Boykins' grandmother, Patricia Williams, and his parents, Tony Boykins and Anthony Boykins, certain state troopers could have saved Leedon's life.
My son was in the car, and they knew it.
His parents were in Michigan for a family funeral. Leedon's grandmother, watching Leedon at their Paulding County home, had given Leedon permission this past Thursday to help a close family friend, their neighbor Charles Moore, at his job, along with Moore's 14-year-old son, on the way home. The State Patrol says troopers pulled Moore over for speeding, but that Moore then drove off, speeding again and driving erratically for 3.5 miles down Highway 92 until troopers used a pit maneuver to stop him. Moore's car spun off the highway and flipped upside down. Leedon was killed. Moore and his son survived. Moore is in custody facing charges. The Boykins say it was Moore's wife who told them Leedon was killed, and who told them that when troopers first pulled Moore over, Moore, who is black, had his son call 911.
He told the 911 operator, and he said, I need for y'all to get a supervisor out here. There's too many police cars, and I'm in fear of my life.
Leedon's father, Anthony, says troopers would have seen there were children in Moore's car, and that he drove away while still on the 911 call. Did troopers think they were rescuing the 2 children in Moore's car, and that the pit maneuver was the only way to do it?
But they couldn't put a roadblock up and protect those kids. They couldn't figure out any other way than to flip that car over.
Leedon's parents say no one in law enforcement has ever notified them he was killed. And now they say no one will tell them where Leedon's body is or when he'll be released to them. We are working to reach the State Patrol to get answers to questions Leedon Boykins' heartbroken loved ones need now.
We have brand new details tonight in the crash that killed a 12-year-old boy in Paulding County. Nearly 1 month ago, state troopers used a pit maneuver to stop a car during a chase that killed 12-year-old Leedon Boykins. Tonight, we hear the trooper's perspective in a report released just hours ago. The trooper says the driver was speeding, so he followed him. He says the driver seemed drunk and tried to avoid the trooper. He pulled the car over and says the driver refused to show his license and had alcohol on his breath. The trooper said he did not see anyone in the back of the car when he pulled the car over. He writes in the report, the only other thing I noticed inside the vehicle was someone in the passenger seat. I was unable to clearly see if anyone was in the back seat due to the window tint. He says he requested help from Paulding deputies. The driver refused to get out of the car. and started a chase that led up to that crash. An investigation found an open beer and 2 empty flasks were inside that car. The report says the driver had a suspended license and 2 active warrants out for his arrest. He's now facing murder and DUI charges.
Here's where the education needs to come in on my behalf. Here's what we got to understand. We could always look at the end result and say that the end result shouldn't be the end result because of this thing or this thing or this thing. The police shouldn't have done this. The police shouldn't have done that. They should have saw this. They should have saw that. Here's, and I got to give a shout out to my father. I don't know if he's watching. Maybe he'll type something in the chat. I don't know. But I'm going to give credit to my father because my father has been the biggest catalyst for teaching me the lesson of holding yourself accountable, being in charge of your destiny. Let me explain for you guys. If I were in this situation, guess what my dad would be telling me? You know what he would tell me? He'd tell you, son, why was your license suspended in the first damn place? What were you doing to get your license suspended? And if your license was suspended, then your butt shouldn't have been in a damn car. Point number 1. Point number 2, you know it's against the law for you to be drinking in the car and driving, especially being under the influence. Why would you be drinking and driving knowing that it impairs your thinking and ability to be rational, to make proper decisions? Point number 3, why did you have children in the car with no seatbelt on as the responsible adult? These 3 things would have prevented this baby's death. Why? Because now it puts the responsibility on the jerk off who put this baby's life in danger to begin with. And then ask yourself, if none of this happens, if he's not driving, if he's not drunk, if he don't have these kids in the car, does he ever reach the police? Would this pit maneuver ever have happened if he never even got to this point? Remember, we're talking about preventative measures and holding the people accountable for putting themselves in these bad choices, in these bad situations. The only way we're going to get better in this world is if you start holding the individuals who make stupid choices accountable for their stupid choices. Now, does that mean that we don't hold the police responsible? It's not what I'm saying at all. If the police actions cause a life to be lost, especially a youth, in this situation, it was this 12-year-old boy. Will they be held accountable? Yes, they are. It sucks that the police are constantly thrown into these situations and forced to use judgment calls based on the law in order to save other people's lives. Because I'm going to tell you, if this man took off running, if they would have just let him keep going, I can guarantee you somebody else was going to die. They were going to go head on and hit somebody else, blowing through stoplights, blowing through stop signs, blowing through construction zones when there could have been construction workers out there working. Let me tell y'all a little bit about my pain. Can I tell y'all a little bit about my pain? You guys want to know how I lost my grandfather? He was hit by somebody driving a car while he was working as a street worker, as a construction worker in the street. By a stupid SOB just like this. But who's going to cry for my grandfather? Who's going to really cry for this little boy whose life was taken by the man who was left in charge of his life? Now, granted, I'm not sure if the family really knew about that man's history, about him drinking and driving, because that's the type of thing you don't just wake up and start doing. I'm sorry, but I don't think you just wake up one day and just decide to just start drinking out of nowhere. That's usually a pattern behavior. That's usually somebody with a drinking addiction. Yes? That's usually something that is a long-going problem, which is something the family may have been aware of and maybe they weren't. But if they trusted this man enough to have their son with him, I'm assuming that they had to have known this character a little bit. Maybe you knew he was just a little bit of a lush. Somebody who liked to drink just a little bit too damn much. Somebody who was just a little bit too damn irresponsible. He couldn't even take care of his damn self, let alone 2 other children in the car. But you know what? This is a perfect moment for us to put the responsibility on that man's, put the blood literally on his hands. We can wash our hands with this and call it a day. And the police save somebody else's life. They save some other children's life. They save some other mother's life. They save some other father's life. They save some other innocent family members, law-abiding citizens who were actually driving and doing the correct things, and saved them from the carnage that this man was about to present to them that day. I want to wish this baby boy an RIP, because that sucks. This young man could have grown up to become something great, and his family was robbed of that opportunity to see him grow up and become something great. And I hope everybody understands. I know emotions are high, but I hope you listen with an open mind as well as an open heart, and understand that we are here to advocate for children first. And to this boy, 12-year-old Leiden Boykins, young prince, RIP. Please make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so we can continue to bring you guys more educational stories, more true crime stories, and hopefully we can end silly madness like this and put our anger and vitriol where it belongs. Thank you.